Hi, and welcome back to the Beauty Lab podcast. I'm your host, Monina, and my co-host, Velia. As you can see, we have a little bit of a different setup. So we're trying out something new, and hopefully it works and you guys like it.
Hopefully we like it.
Yeah. Lots of behind the scenes today. But that's the life of a podcaster, I guess. It's been fun. It's a great learning curve. Anyways, so today I'm going to be interviewing Velia about something we actually haven't talked about yet. Are you ready?
I am.
Welcome to the Beauty Lab podcast, your drive time resource for all things beauty, health, and wellness. We're your hosts and favorite beauty nerds, Monina and Velia.
Join us as we debunk myths, explore the latest trends, and dive deep into the science behind your favorite products. We'll interview industry experts and answer your burning beauty questions in 30 minutes or less. For those of you who get your hair cut regularly, you guys know how important it is to find that perfect hairstylist, right? And you will go to great lengths to keep them, even if they move away, right? I mean, I know I've done that in the past. Or you'll travel hours if they move to a different location. Well, anyways, imagine this scenario. You've moved, or your stylist is just gone now, they've retired, whatever it might be, and now you're on the hunt for a new hairstylist. So what do? You try to look around on your own. Hopefully you get a recommendation, right? But when you go into that very first appointment with that new stylist, it's a little bit scary, right?
Yes.
Pretty scary. So today, Velia is going to give us some tips and suggestions, recommendations on how to make that very first appointment with that brand new stylist be a successful appointment. So let's get started. My first question, Velia.
Yeah.
Okay. What are some things you should tell your stylist that we may not think really to even talk about on our first appointment?
Okay. Yeah, that's a really great question because I think that most people are pretty clueless, especially if it's been years since you've changed stylists. You're just used to going in and not really asking any questions or giving any instruction. I feel like a lot of my longtime clients are that way, where they just come in and they're like, just do. You know what I like.
Yeah. It's like, you already know me, do whatever you think.
Mm-hmm. So I think a couple things to remember is be honest about your hair history. So if you've had a perm, if you've had, when the last time you had color was, if you've had highlights that you've previously covered up, because sometimes by looking at somebody's hair, you can't tell that 6 months ago they had highlights because now their hair is dark because they've covered up their old highlights and their hair is just like a solid color. Mm-hmm. So it's important to know what's underneath that color, right? Also, something that you probably would never have thought to ask or disclose is how often are you swimming in chlorinated water and getting your hair wet with chlorinated water? Because chlorine is so terrible for your hair, and the chemical reaction that I've seen personally with my eyes on my client has been so scary when bleach and chlorine meet in a foil. I'm sure everyone has seen those reels or TikTok where the foils are smoking.
Yes.
And it's really easy to be like, that's fake. It's not fake. No, that stuff happens. I've actually seen that happen. I've actually created that scenario on somebody's head. I know.
Because it's a chemical reaction happening, right?
I had a client who I knew, I already knew this girl, and she was a swimmer. And I gave her chlorine removing shampoo to use 5 times before she got her hair done, before we did her highlights. And when she came in to have her hair highlighted, I asked her, I was like, did you use because I could kind of feel like residue in her hair. And I was like, did you use the shampoo? And she was like, yeah, I did. And I was like, okay. So I started highlighting her, and then I don't know, maybe like 5 or 6 foils, I started feeling heat like radiating from her head. And I was like, are you really hot? Like, are you like burning up a little? And she's like, no. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I kept going. And then like I kept feeling the heat like intensify. So I went back just because it felt like I should go back and look at like the first couple foils. And as I moved her hair out of the way, I saw like, and I opened up the foil, there was like steam coming out of her foil. And I was like,
no.
Oh my God, that was the one and only time that ever happened to me, and I did not remain calm. Like I was like, you didn't use the shampoo. Like, I know you didn't. There's no way. She's like, I didn't. I'm sorry. I'm like, oh. So she lied. And you know, I understand the impulse to lie about something like that when you don't know what the consequences are. And you really want your highlights done, you know. I get that. She was young. And anyways, so I wound up like, you know, very panically washing her hair out, and luckily I had only applied like 7 foils at that time, and they were like all at the bottom because I started at the bottom. And, you know, wherever the foil, like, I don't know, probably about this much of her hair melted off on the ends. And that was within, I mean, I'm fast. So that was like maybe 5 minutes of foiling.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so note to
So
self.
no chlorine.
No chlorine.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the main thing to learn from this is just be honest.
Yeah, be
Like,
honest.
Be honest.
Yes.
With your stylist. Okay.
Right. And then also, if like your stylist in the past has ever said something to you like, oh, your hair is really resistant, or, you know, it takes forever for your hair to get light, or it takes no time for your hair to get light, or it takes your hair takes color well, like any one of those kinds of like phrases are really helpful for a new stylist to like kind of get a leg up on learning how your hair is going to behave. So, and then of course, if like you have any color formulas that you can bring along with you that your stylist has used in the past, and it just kind of, even if the new stylist doesn't use the same color line or something, it still gives some information on like what's worked for that person in the past.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So any important things, or if you've had something like that happen in the past,
Yes.
too, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Awesome. I wanted to point out kind of like a phenomenon though. Like,
Yeah.
Did you ever notice that on the day you're gonna go in and get your hair done, you have a really good hair day?
Yes, it's like an unwritten rule that the day you come in, you're like, my hair actually looks really great.
Yeah,
it's
looks
like
great.
It's like when you go to the doctor that you've been waiting for like 2 weeks to go in for like your shoulder pain,
Yeah,
and then you're like, I don't know, my shoulder kind
gone.
of feels
It's
fine
all
today.
gone.
Oh,
What is that?
gosh. I don't know, but it is absolutely something that I hear basically every day in the salon. But speaking of having a good hair day, Beauty Lab listeners, we see you, we appreciate you, and we thank you for being the best community a podcast could ask for. We've got a little something special just for you from Velia Beauty Co., the hair care line that's all about giving your hair the love and nutrition it deserves. These products are packed with natural minerals and plant proteins, leaving your hair strong, resilient, and super shiny. And get this, they're cruelty-free, sulfate-free, paraben-free, and safe for colored or keratin-treated hair. As a thank you for being a part of the Beauty Lab family, you can get 20% off your entire product order at veliabeautyco.com. Just use the code TheBeautyLabPodcast at checkout. That's The Beauty Lab Podcast, all 4 words, all caps. We'll link it in the show notes.
Well, yay! That's a nice little thing to offer our listeners. So hopefully you guys caught that, but it'll be in the show notes. Okay, I have a second question.
Yes.
All right. Now, as a stylist, how much do you need to know about their past experiences? Well, you kind of answered that already, but like everything, like all the good, all the bad, everything?
Yeah, I think, just kind of talking about past experiences, that could also be like the past experiences that you've had in other salons. So like, I'm not talking about, you start with a new stylist and you guys just gossip and talk crap about your previous stylist, but more so like the reasons you moved on, because there's reasons why you moved on, and it could be circumstantial, like you were talking about earlier, like somebody's moved or you moved, but it could also be like the salon was drama, or there were people who were really rude there, or the prices just went up to the point where you couldn't afford to stay there, but you do like your stylist, it's just you can't afford that stylist anymore. Or maybe it was something a little bit worse, like they damaged your hair, or they canceled on you all the time, or you didn't feel heard by your stylist. So those are really important things to bring up, not in a gossipy way, but in a way that will help the new stylist that you're working with understand your expectations, and then also determine whether or not you two are a good fit.
Right, I was just going to say it's informational,
Yep.
but it's also a litmus test.
Yes.
Too, because you can kind of tell also with body language. Like
Yes.
if you start talking about things that you didn't like,
Yes.
but you're getting kind of almost the same vibes
Yes.
as the other stylist or the other location, it's just a good way to test out.
Right.
the
It's
salon.
kind of like a first date.
Yeah, totally.
And similar to like a first date, I would also say maybe don't go to your brand new stylist for like a 5-hour appointment the first time. Maybe start with like something easy. Like, I mean, not that haircuts are easy, but maybe even like a trim. Because the worst thing that could happen is maybe they cut it a little too short, or you get a haircut you don't really like. But then you get to sort of like test out the personalities as well, versus making an appointment for like a balayage, a root touch-up, a root smudge, a toner, a haircut and blow dry, which is like an all-day thing.
Right.
Because if you don't like that person, you're stuck with them.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Man, this is so good because I didn't even occur to me because I have you.
Right.
But yeah, like it's a good way to test out their personality, their technique, their experience,
Right.
their bedside manner.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It
Bedside
all matters.
Yeah, it does.
So, okay. Wow, good to know. Okay. So, my next question then is, okay, so I'm coming in for the first time. Is it helpful, or do you recommend us bringing in photos of like inspirational styles and things that we want? Is that going to help? Is that a good thing to do?
Yes, definitely. I think people maybe don't bring in photos sometimes because they don't know what their hair will do, so they just kind of get like analysis paralysis. They're like, I don't know if that my hair is not curly and this picture is somebody with curly hair, something like that. But what I always say is bring in pictures. I would say at least 3 to 5. You don't want to bring like 10. Bring in 3 pictures of what you do want, and then 3 similar pictures of what you don't want. So what I mean by that is, like, let's say you're going in for a layered, like a long layered haircut. Find 3 pictures of a long layered haircut that you're like, ooh, that one, I like that, I like that, I like that. But kind of also try to point out what you like about this particular picture, because I've seen people bring in pictures of the same person, like same model or whatever, taken on the same day with the same haircut, and they're like, but I don't like this. But it's like just the way that like the hair fell the moment that photo was taken.
It's an angle. It's a different angle of the hair.
So I say bring in 3 pictures of what you do want and 3 similar pictures of what you don't want. So then bring in 3 pictures of like a layered haircut that maybe is shorter than you want to go, or has bangs and you're like, I don't want bangs, or something like that. So hopefully that makes sense. What we don't want to see is an album of photos of you from 30 years ago. You would be shocked at how many people do this.
Well, are they doing that because they liked the way their hair looked?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is so irrelevant. I know that like trends come back around
Right.
every 30 years. However, your hair is not the same hair as it was 30 years ago. It's definitely thinner.
Yeah.
It's probably a different texture. Like you may have had more curl or more wave or something 30 years ago. And honestly, those pictures from 30 years ago are really bad quality photos. So like you can't even tell. You also like the fact that you had less wrinkles and you probably were a little like
is it really
thinner.
the hair or is it because you were 20 years younger?
Exactly.
Okay,
it's because you're trying to go back to the fun times in your life or something. I don't know. But we don't want to see that. We want photos that have been, I mean, look at Pinterest. It's literally for this purpose.
Right.
2025 version of any haircut you can think of will be on Pinterest.
That's a good idea. Like just put in, maybe you did like a style back in the 80s. You could say 2025 version of.
Right. Of the shag.
Right.
Something like that.
Exactly. Okay. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's
because it's called something different now.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Because we speak in words, but we think in images. So the more questions that you can answer based on the images that you've brought in, because I like to ask a ton of questions to my clients. So like if you showed me all these pictures, I would be asking you like so many questions about each picture. Okay, what do you like about that? Do you like that picture just has the face framing like going towards your face? Or is it that you just don't like how short the face framing is? Because you see something in your mind and maybe even on a photo and you're zeroing in on particular things, and I have no idea what particular things you're zeroing in on.
Yeah.
So the more questions I ask you as the stylist about the photos you're bringing in, or if you have no photos, just what you're thinking about in your mind, what you're seeing in your mind, the more I can picture the picture that you're picturing.
Yeah, no. I mean, it totally makes sense because I do the same thing with makeup.
Yes.
Like someone will bring in like 3 or 4 photos of inspirational pictures, and I will then go through each one and go, okay, what is it about this that you like? Because the style of the eyes are actually totally different. And they're like, oh, it is?
Yes.
But they don't understand that when they choose they're zeroing on something that I may not necessarily see.
Yes.
So that's a great point. Yeah.
And also as the client going to a new stylist, now I know it may have been, again, years since your last time. If your stylist, the new stylist is asking you a bunch of questions, please don't mistake that for them not knowing what they're doing.
Good point.
It's actually quite the opposite, because if you go to a stylist and you're like, here, I want this, and they take one look at the photo and go, okay, and then they go wash your hair and start the haircut, that's ego. That's not confidence. You know, I never in a million years would I even think to do something like that, you know, because I have no idea where to start. Yeah, I know you might want that haircut, but what does that even mean to you?
Right.
So anyways, that was...
It's great. Yeah, and we always say a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? But you have to convey in words what you want and don't want. That's just as important, what you don't want. Okay. Wow, this is so good. All right, I do have a few more questions, but before we dive into more questions, I just wanted to say thank you again for being with us every week and week out. We really appreciate you guys being here. Please like, share, and subscribe, or send this to someone that maybe is looking for a new stylist and they're thinking about moving on, or for whatever reason, and they may feel a little concerned about it. Please have them watch this, because this will really help them go into that first appointment feeling a little bit more confident, I think, about making the right choice. Okay, so let's go on. I got a few more questions. What if somebody just has absolutely no idea what they want? Like how does that person even start the conversation with you?
And you know, that's a great question, because that also does happen, because people will come in and they're like, I have no idea. I don't know. So I think when you're talking about changing your color or cut, it doesn't matter either way. You need to be honest with yourself about how much time you want, like let's say it's a haircut, how much time you want to spend on styling that haircut, right? So that filters out a lot of options, right? In a stylist brain of what this person is, one, used to doing, one, willing to do, you know, how comfortable you are with using a blow dryer and a brush, how comfortable you are with using a curling iron, and just like kind of what your lifestyle allows you to be able to do, you know. knowing that and being really solid on just that one thing, like how much time do you want to spend on this for it to look good, right? That helps tremendously just kind of deduce like what styles are even appropriate for your lifestyle. The second thing is how often you want to be coming back to the salon to get your either color redone or even your haircut, because there are some haircuts that are like, if you don't get that hair trimmed like every 3 weeks, you're going to always feel like it's out of shape. That's more for like shorter haircuts. But with color, I mean, there's so much to know there, and your stylist will give you all of the information on that. But knowing how much time you want to spend in the salon as well, and then your budget. Like, how much money are you willing to spend on your hair? Because there is a budget-friendly scenario like for everyone. So if you're okay with coming in every 4 weeks and spending $250 every 4 weeks, then, you know, great. Then you can work a plan around that with your stylist of what's going to work best for you and make you the happiest. And maybe that's really high for some people, and maybe that's like, sounds like a bargain to some people because they, depending on where you live, like the prices of hair vary tremendously.
Oh,
so
yeah, big time.
yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's really good to know. These are great questions, you guys. Do you have any more final thoughts?
Okay, so something that does happen from time to time is a new client will book an appointment and not tell the stylist that they have an event that night or even like the next day, or you know, it's Thursday but something is happening for them on Saturday. And it's like the first time you're seeing the stylist. It puts a lot of pressure on the situation. I've seen this like in like kind of funny terms, and I've seen this in like just face palm, like, are you freaking kidding me terms. Like one time, it was when I was teaching, a man came in to cover his gray, and this is at a school, right? So a student is doing it, and the guy didn't mention that he was going to a wedding. Thank God it wasn't his wedding, but I think it was like his daughter's wedding. I think he was like the bride's father.
The bride. Yeah.
Right. And he had this black stain all around his hairline because he didn't say anything about, you know, I have an event, but he was really mad when the black stain wouldn't come off of his skin. So don't do that.
Note to self.
Especially if you're covering gray and your hair is really dark. I know you and I did like a funny reel about that.
Yeah, I was going to say that. It was a reel we did.
Yeah.
Go check it out. It's a pretty funny reel.
But that is a real thing that happens.
Wow.
Or again, like it could be something simple like highlights, but then like you never know if those highlights are going to be the tone that you want them to be, and you want a few days at least. Wiggle room in case there needs to be adjustments. Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Well, that was great information, but I do have one more thought that I wanted to ask you. Okay, so there's this myth going around that coming in with dirty hair is actually advantageous when you're getting your hair colored. Is that true? And by your body language.
I have heard this a lot. Like, yes, even from like my longtime clients, they'll still come in. They're like, oh, I thought that dirty hair takes color better. I read that, or I saw that on TikTok, and I'm like, I don't know how this thing started. No, it's not true. Let me give you both sides of this. You don't want to scrub your scalp before you get your hair colored if you're getting a root color, because it'll burn, right? Like it'll hurt more if you're just scrubbing all the natural oils off of your scalp, and then like an hour later you're having color put on it.
Yeah, it's like exfoliating, going in for a chemical peel.
Exactly. So you don't want to do that. However, you also don't want to come in to get your color done, especially if you're trying to cover gray, if it's been a week since you've washed your hair and now you have a week's worth of all the things on your scalp, because sometimes the color won't penetrate through, depending on how oily you get, won't penetrate through the oils on your scalp, and your gray won't cover as well. And also, speaking of gray, a lot of times in between color touch-ups, I should say, my clients in general will use like a powder to cover their gray. Like there's like powders and like mascaras like to camouflage the gray. You have to remove that junk before you come in and get your hair colored, because depending on what medium you've used to apply that, like the powders are a little bit more easily broken through with the color.
Penetrate, yeah.
But there are some that are like waxy. Absolutely not. And then like the mascara is really like thick. No, you don't want to try and color over that. And then you also don't want to show up with that in your hair and then have to be charged for washing and drying your hair before you get the color done.
Yeah, maybe that's why people think it's okay to come in with dirty hair, because they're like, oh, it's just gonna wash my hair anyways. But that's after you've applied the color.
Right. And we are going to wash your hair, but you shouldn't be going a week between washes anyway. But it's mostly that gray powder wax stuff, cover up stuff that really messes up.
Yeah. Or even dry shampoo. Like if you had dry shampoo
If you're a dry shampoo abuser, then yes, that will for sure be an issue. But if you're someone who used dry shampoo once and then came in to get your hair colored, it should be fine.
Yeah. Oh, good.
But anytime you're covering gray, just be like extra on top of it. I mean, come on, you're spending your time, your money to come in and get your stupid gray covered again. And the last thing you want is for it to not cover all the myth is
so that myth is busted. Okay.
We busted that myth.
Busted it. So always remember that.
Yes.
So. All right. Well, thank you again so much for joining us this week. We hope that you learned a lot and that going into a new stylist is going to be less scary for you. My name's Monina.
I'm Velia.
Until next time,
keep experimenting with your beauty routine.
I like having a mirror.
I don't. Oh, you know what I can see though? I can see the phone in the mirror, which you can't see. I can see my phone. Do you see that?
Oh, now I see it. Okay.
Oh, that's not distracting at all.
New setup.
Right? Oh yeah, we have to address that.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so here we go. Put my glasses on. All right.
I know.
Ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. All right. We're trying out something new. And then today we do have a nice, oh God, no, I can't. Okay.
Cut.